Hey guys, it's me, your favorite YouTuber, Miss B. Today I'm going to show you how to make a clay project, some do's and don'ts. First you get a piece of clay, and from that piece of clay I'm going to think about if I need extra pieces for maybe some details later. So I'm taking a chunk off of this, and then this might be my main piece, and I'm going to use my hands for the most part because this is kind of dirty, and I'm really picky about dirty places. I don't like dirt. So I'm going to work in my hands, otherwise on the canvas is good. So if I wanted to make a pinch pot, you can refer to these. Everybody should have done a pinch pot in the past, so there it is. But this is my main piece. Please remember, don't play with the clay. It dries up and it gets brittle and it gets hard to work with. If that should happen, you can add a touch, just a touch of water, but too much water equals mud, and then it'll go and it'll flop and it'll be a disaster. So I'm going to put that dry piece aside, and this piece just sits here while I'm waiting to add that. I'm going to roll a piece that's sort of like a cylinder, and I'm going to figure out this one. I'm going to just make a spot where this is going to be an alligator. So this will be the alligator head, and I'm going to kind of pinch this to look like an alligator, so kind of more like a triangle. And then I need to leave some room for 4 legs. So on the bottom, I'm going to maybe use a tool here and mark a plus. That way I know this piece needs to be here. This leg will be here. This leg will be this piece. So I made it into quarters. And there I've got just the basics of 4 little stumpy legs. And then I need a tail for an alligator. So I'll squeeze some what I have on the back. And then, so this one I've made all by just squeezing, pinching, molding what I have. So I've made a 3D sculpture by molding it. Now if you want to add pieces, let's say, of course I'll add some details later. I can use the stick to draw his eyes, make a nose, cut in here for a mouth. Okay. But if you wanted to have a hat that would come off, I can make him a hat. Let's pretend this is going to be his hat here. A little Shriner hat that he'll wear up here. So in order to get this to stay, right now it stays. But as soon as it comes out of the kiln at 2,000 degrees after it's fired, when you get it, it'll go bloop and it'll fall right off. So you need to score it, which is putting a bunch of lines. Doesn't have to be beautiful. Don't get ridiculously crazy, but there we go. I've scored the top, I've scored the hat, and I'm going to use just a touch of slip or water. And it's okay if it's red. So a touch there, touch here. Stick it together. Okay, that's part 2. And then you need to see this. So I scored it. There, can you see I scored it? Then the slip is like the glue. Then I stuck it together. And now I'm going to double duty it. I'm going to smooth it out and make sure it stays. And so I'm going to just take that clay. I like to call that smooshing it together. A tool works well for this. Something with a point. Here's a good tool. So something with a point. That, and maybe use my fingers. You can always use a pencil. So to join the clay, remember, score it, slip it, stick it, smooth it. Okay, these are around the room, so you make sure you do that. Add some texture. An alligator is really rough looking, so I'm going to try to make him look a little nicer. And I have a class coming in like a minute or 2, so I'm not going to put a lot, but let's pretend I did a nice job and put a whole bunch of texture on this guy. And maybe squeeze some little areas to give him sort of a scaly back. And then his Shriner hat, let's see, I don't know, maybe later I'll put a little string coming off of this for his hat. Most important things, not too thin. Don't squeeze the clay to death. Something this thin will break really super easy. Bloop. Okay? If it's too thick, it can blow up in the kiln. If it's not attached, it won't stay attached. If you don't do these 4 things, it may fall off, and then you'll just have to fix it later. Also, don't, if it's too thick, or if you enclose an area, it can blow up in the kiln because it gets hot, and then the heat expands the air, and then and when I say it blows up, it mostly crumbles all over, and you won't have much for a project. Okay? So, be open-minded. You might have to mess it, fix it. You might start making something and it might look exactly like, instead of a dinosaur or an alligator, it might look like a dog. So you might have to change your mind. Okay, we get 1 day to do this. And do your best and have fun. And if you like this, please subscribe below.
You switch it on and it
try to make
melts
touch.
That would hurt. It's like an electric toothbrush. You can't just hold it. You can't stick the toothbrush in your mouth and do it.
Do I need to do that? That inside?
No, that looks pretty neat in there. I wouldn't.
Okay, I gotta wait for this to dry.